Now, this particular moment in ECW history, as well as pro wrestling history, is known as the chair shot heard around the world. Now, before the chair shot heard around the world, there's going to be the crutch to the groin felt around the world. Let's go first there, because Raven, I want to say this too, because we talked about it before this segment, in between segments, about the Mick Foley Rock unprotected chair shots with the handcuffs behind the back. Now, I have no doubt that Raven here is thinking about, I'm unprotected, I'm completely exposed, which in 2024, there's a danger factor, a risk factor. We know more about concussions and CTE. We did not know that back then, but one thing's for sure. Raven is handcuffed. Raven is out right now. He's pretty unaware of what's going on, but this crutch or this cane is going to make him very aware of what's going on right there, because he gets a pretty good nut shot. Now, this is for young wrestlers out here, or out there. They're not here. I'm an introvert. I don't let anybody in my house. But Raven, right here, I want to point this out. Raven right here, when you get hit with something like that, real good workers and great workers like Raven are going to close the legs and keep the thing they got nut-shotted with there for a few seconds, even if you got to walk around to show the fans that you took this. And of course, on his face, he is screaming. But the worst is not yet to come, or it is yet to come for Raven. So now this part, before the actual violence of the chair shot, is more important, in my opinion, than the actual chair shot. The presentation, as Vince Russo would say, setting the table for this moment. He did the nut shot, which incapacitated Raven. He's handcuffed. He's not going anywhere. And Dreamer is looking down at a steel chair. Now, when he picks that up, he's going to take his time. He's looking around. What Dreamer's doing right here is trying to work all four sides along with the camera. He's scanning right here until he comes back and faces Raven. Before he even does that, I'm going to show you in a second, before he makes eye contact with Raven, he looks down and makes eye contact with the chair. This is what I'm going to take his head off with. This here is a moment. Get ready, looking around. Get your cameras ready, get your cameras ready, get your cameras ready, until he faces here, looks down at the chair, here it comes, and then the actual chair shot. So let's go to the next stage and show you that, because it's super important. Looking around, there he goes right here. That part right there, showing the people that he's going to throw the chair shot. And even looks back, hard camera, and shouts ECW. But right here, this here, just looking at the chair and saying, this is the weapon I'm going to hit him with, and then the ECW. Now, this part right here with the ECW, if this was Suspender Tommy Dreamer, TD Madison, the $1 billion baby, the pandering babyface, they would have booed him out of the building. He proved himself. He crossed that Rubicon, and now he's the innovator of violence. This here is a pivotal moment, maybe the most important moment for Dreamer since the 10 cane shots by the Sandman. I dare say this is even more important, because this here, that was the beginning of when the fans started to accept Tommy Dreamer. This here, the innovator of violence, is their favorite babyface wrestler. They're cheering everything he does at this point. And of course, Raven, as cool as he is, they're cheering for the babyface they used to boo to hit the guy that's supposedly cooler than him. So that's awesome. Here he goes. ECW, boom. And he hit him with it. There's a shot right there. And this is 90, 95, so it's not HD, sorry. Barely get 240p out of this. There's the chair shot. He's holding it, but he kind of threw it at Raven, but it's every bit a chair shot. Unprotected. Break it down right here and show you everything we're looking at. It's really chair shot over here, handcuffs here. Raven doesn't even have a chance to crumble. He doesn't have a chance to take a back bump. He doesn't have a chance to at least get the forearm or the hands up. This here is one of the most dangerous, unprotected chair shots you could ever take. But both guys, within the moment, within the, how should I say, the desire to create a memorable wrestling moment that we're talking about in August 2024, this is the moment I believe that made Dreamer and Raven go to the next level with their storyline and also as really integral characters in ECW history.
At the beginning, you said that Raven got a real concussion. Is that confirmed? He was concussed, as you like, after this chair shot, or did he manage to absorb it somehow?
No, that's just my eyes and my ears hearing the shot. There were no diagnosed concussions or he got his bell rung. I know he got his bell rung, and I know he was woozy, and I know he felt it. But you have to understand, too, at this time with Raven, he's doing certain things to mask that pain, to inhibit it, to ignore it. So there's not a true sense of what am I looking at as far as, my cognitive ability or anything like that. He wasn't affected in the ring, but stuff like this, we still had a week after this to recover because everything was really done Friday, Saturday. And then if you had Indy, you would do it on Sunday. So we would be working almost every weekend. So Monday through Friday, he didn't really work. Wrestling was his full-time job. So I think I wasn't around him for those 5 to 6 days or whatever, but I'm sure he was feeling it. He had a migraine, and he definitely, in my estimation, after the fact, 2020 hindsight, he got a concussion. Because that chair shot, dude, the dudes heard it in the back. Like, they heard the chair shot as if they were standing next to Dreamer or Raven.
So we were talking about this beforehand, and you mentioned it briefly during the whiteboard segment as well. And I believe I read in Mick Foley's second book that he described the sensation of having his arms, tied behind his back, handcuffed behind his back, during the Royal Rumble 1999 I Quit match with The Rock. He didn't realise just how much it would impact him to not have his arms free to absorb some of the blow. And I don't mean putting his hands up. I mean just having his hands free to somehow just react to the chair shot landing on him. Do you suspect that Raven having his arms tied would have made the chair shot all the more worse to absorb?
Here's my thought comparing it and taking chair shots throughout my career. You can at least, if you know the chair shot's coming, I think what Mick is talking about, I can't even brace my arms in front of me like this. In other words, when you're like this and you're taking a chair shot, it's literally coming all the way down and compressing right there. If you're like this, I think arms in front bracing can at least kind of soften the blow or really put some kind of, I guess, tension against the blow. But if you're like this and your shoulder's behind you and you're trapping neck, you're almost really very exposed. Now with Raven, like I said, he's handcuffed here, but he's literally in the Raven pose with the crucifix pose. Here, his shoulders aren't back and his neck isn't exposed more. This is just my educated guess. Now, he can brace a little bit here where Mick can't really brace. And he's leaned over and he's in a weird position. At least Raven is standing straight up in a vertical position instead of Mick like this. So every chair shot I saw Mick almost hit him in a different part of his head. Do you remember seeing that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like some of them would come from the side or the top, or because he was moving and trying to kind of get position with that. So a chair shot unprotected is a chair shot unprotected. But I do believe mixed chair shots from Rock, there's many more of them, by the way, was really a lot more dangerous and had a lot more negative effect on Mick than Raven. But this one good one, he didn't feel better after that. So I would say, yeah, Mick makes a lot of sense with the handcuff behind his back. Visually, it's a lot more dangerous. It's a lot more exciting. It's a lot more sympathy on a baby face, but it's real. So, yeah, that was definitely probably the most dangerous chair shots I've ever seen consistently thrown at somebody.
As you, Stevie, as a 21-time WWF/WWE hardcore champion, I know you've
22.
absorbed...
22. Don't listen to Raven. 22.
Oh, it was Wikipedia I was quoting here. They always write
Raven's
Wikipedia.
editing Wikipedia. There's your clickbait title.
Yeah, Raven, stop editing the Wikipedia, damn it. So there's... is there a specific way that you have found with all the weapon shots that you have taken over the years that, I'm not saying once again putting like you just your hands in the way or anything, but a body position that you can adopt to just take a bit of the sting out of whatever weapon is landing on your head?
Probably the best body position you can pick when taking a weapon shot is never ever entering the ring or the arena.
Let's say that option isn't available to you, you know it's coming, and it's specifically a headshot.
I have no clue. It's one of the, that's why when people say, oh, there's a special technology, they tap the chair twice and it becomes a pillow. And when people say, well, you know the chair shot's coming, that's the worst feeling in the world. When there's 4 hours and you know somebody's going to give you this kind of chair shot. What's worse? I'd rather not know it's coming. I mean, no, I'll see it coming, but I'd rather you not keep telling me, yeah, you just remember, get your hand, don't put your hands up, and it's coming. I'm bringing it. Okay, I don't need to hear that repeatedly, please. So this is one of those things that I'm glad they took it out of the business for the most part, because even a back shot, you're gonna, like I said, the reverberation, you bring your head up, you jar your neck a bit, but they're doing really good business for the talent right now, protecting them from themselves to not have these chair shots. And I know AEW's done it with Jack Perry, the same thing, but that kid could be paying a price 10 to 20 years from now.
What was the worst chair shot you ever took?
I took one, the worst one I ever took was Steve Bradley. Steve Bradley was going to hit me with a chair. It was on an indie show, and he hit me with the chair, and it slipped, and the chair, the side of the chair, went right into my mouth and broke these teeth. So he's trying to swing it, but the sweat, it slipped out, and it came at me like a frisbee, right at my mouth.
Okay, I'll re-ask it slightly differently. What was the hardest chair shot you ever took that, didn't end up in your mouth?
Probably the hardest chair shot was from Terry Funk. That three-way dance of Barely Legal, it didn't look like much, but it was when I got thrown over the railing and Sandman did the ladder spot with me. Then Terry came and started beating us both up. I was hanging off the guardrail like this. And there's actually another one. It's a tie. But I wasn't quite in position. Terry took care of me, but it got something about a left-handed chair shot to the head, which is weird in itself. But I wasn't in position, and it kind of came across the side of my head like this. You know what I mean? The other one was, trying to think about it. Oh, good Lord. I forget. Oh, Gary Wolf from the Pitbulls. This is the story that we're going to tell with the double dog collar match. Gary and Anthony whipped me into Gary, or Gary whipped me into Anthony, and I didn't know they were going to throw the chair. They were only whipping me into the barriers, but they whipped me, and I didn't quite see them, but I went like I was going to go into the railing, and my back was like this, and just a chair shot into the back of the head. And it didn't feel great. And I was staggering like this, and they're like, wow, that was a goofy sell. And I was like, sell? What are you talking about?
There's one more thing as well, is that we learned on a previous episode, especially from Gary Wolf, that you do not put your hand up to protect your head from a chair shot in ECW.
Well, you don't put your hands up when the other guy is taking those kinds of chair shots and about 15 from you, and then you put your hands up. That's what we learned.